Welcome to Lakshman Biology. Next theory, which will explain about origin of first life, is theory of biogenesis. Theory of biogenesis. According to theory of biogenesis, living organisms always evolved from the pre-existing organisms. Living organisms. Example, humans. Humans are formed from the humans. Then rats are formed from the rats, like that. Always living organisms always formed from the pre-existing living organisms. If living organisms are exist from the or evolved from the pre-existing organisms, then how first living organisms are formed? It didn't explain how the first life is formed. It told that life always formed from pre-existing life. There are three scientists. They have proved that life always comes from the life. Hence, these three scientists proved the biogenesis and those are disproved the abiogenesis. First scientist who disproved the abiogenesis by this experiment, by his experiment, is Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur did one experiment. It will give support to the biogenesis. The name of the experiment is Swan neck flask experiment. In swan neck flask experiment, he have taken two flasks. This is the one flask, and here it is another flask. This is the second flask. What he did, he have taken the yeast and sugar solution within the both flasks. Okay, in both flasks, he have taken the yeast and sugar solution. After that, what he did, he have heated the both flasks. Both flasks he have eaten. The flasks, both flasks he have heaten. If you see the difference between these two flasks, if you see that difference between two flasks, first one is contain curved neck. This is the curved neck. Don't see this flask. Here, first one contain curved neck, and second one contain broken neck. Broken neck means the flask is open to the air. Here, during heating, what we can observe, the sugar solution, water which present in the sugar solution is evaporate. That water is form the trap in the this swan neck flask. Swan neck means actually swan is a bird. The flask neck is looking like a S shape. The flask neck is looking like a bird neck. Hence, it is called as swan neck flask experiment. During evaporation, the water which is evaporated from this yeast solution will form the trap in this neck. Hence, the microorganisms which are present in the environment cannot enter into the flask. Then another flask has open neck. Because of heating, the yeast which is present in the both flasks killed. Later what happened? Later, after some time, what Louis Pasteur observed? Louis Pasteur observed microorganisms in the flask. Microorganisms in the flask which has broken neck. But there is no microorganisms, no bacteria or no microorganisms in the flask which has curved neck. And later he have given explanation for this. There is a formation of trap in the neck. Hence, the microorganisms which are present in the environment cannot reach up to the sugar solution. But second one has open neck. Hence, the microorganisms which are present in the environment enter into the flask and grown in the flask which has broken neck. Here, and he also told that the killed yeast cannot produce the living organisms. According to abiogenesis, life should form from the dead one. Yeast is the dead one. Sugar or life should be formed from the sugar solution. But here, the life is not formed from the yeast or sugar solution. Life is formed from the pre-existing life which is present in the environment. Hence, this theory disproved the spontaneous generation and it given support to the biogenesis. There is another scientist, name of the scientist is Reddy. he did one experiment. In his experiment, he have taken the 3 jars, and in all jars he have kept the meat, okay, boiled meat pieces he have kept in all the 3 jars. Later what he did, he have closed the 2 jars, one jar with muslin cloth, another jar with parchment paper. He have closed that. After few days, he have observed that microorganisms or eggs of maggots, not microorganisms, eggs of maggots. These are a type of insects. Okay, flies. These are the flies, a type of insects. There is a eggs of maggots. Eggs means those are living forms. Eggs of maggots he have observed only in the meat which is present in the open jar. And later what happened, he have found the eggs, he not found the eggs on the meat, on the meat which he have kept in the jar which has closed. And later he have seen the eggs on the muslin cloth, and he also seen the eggs on the parchment paper. Based on that, he have concluded that life is not comes from the meat is the dead one. Okay, boiled meat is dead one. Life is not comes from the meat. If life is comes from the meat, the egg should be there on the meat which present in the closed jar also. But here meat which present in the closed jar not contain eggs. Hence, the living organisms not comes from the non-living things like a meat. The reason for the presence of eggs in the jar which has meat and the meat which has open jar, in meat which is present in open jar, that is because of flies enter or maggots enter and lay the eggs. Then what is the reason for the presence of eggs on the muslin cloth and parchment paper? The ripened that boiled meat produce some smell. The maggots are attracted by that smell, hence those will reach up to the cloth and they will lay the eggs. That is the reason why there is a presence of eggs on muslin cloth and parchment paper. That is about ready experiment. In this experiment, he have disproved the spontaneous generation and he have given support for the biogenesis. Next, Spallanzani. Spallanzani's experiment. What Spallanzani did, he taken the jar, he taken the jars or he taken the flask. He have within the flask he have taken the hay infusion. It is like a it is helps for the growth of microbes. He have taken the hay infusion in both flasks, two different flasks. After that, what happened? He have heated. Because of heating, the microbes which are present in this hay infusion is killed. After the heating, similar, neck is closed. Neck of one flask is sealed, airtight. Okay, sealed airtight means air cannot enter into this flask. One flask he opened to the air. Later, what he observed? Growth of microbes only in the flask which he has open to the air, but there is no growth of microbes in the flask which has air tightened neck. That is the reason. It is also similar conclusion. Living organisms comes from the environment, but living organisms not formed from the non-living things. That is about Spallanzani's experiment. Thank you.